Hello, welcome. Welcome to Behavior Support at Home. My name is Sarah Feenup, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to develop and establish and follow a routine. I am a behavior specialist at the Lower Hudson Regional Partnership Center, and my background is as a school psychologist and also as a board certified behavior analyst. But I'm also a parent of two. I have a son who is 7 and a daughter who is 3. And like many of you, I'm sure, I am home with them while also being expected to work. So we're going to talk about a very important skill, which is setting up and establishing and following a routine. We're going to be talking about the different kinds of routines, schedules really. I'm going to be using those terms interchangeably, routines and schedules. And we're going to be looking at a few different kinds and examples and talking about, what's the most appropriate kind for your kids and some troubleshooting ideas as well. After today's session, you will be given a link to a Google Drive folder, and all of the materials that I show you today will be on there, as well as some others. And I'll also be providing my email at the end of this, where you can email me if you have any questions. Okay. All right, let's give this a go. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so you can see kind of the agenda for today. All righty. So session 1, developing and following a routine. And again, I want to tell you that I am not perfect. I have experience in this, both in schools and at home, but life happens. And even if you have the best schedule, stuff's going to come up. So we'll talk about that too, how to stay calm and be flexible, which is a really good skill to model for your kids. And it's okay. We're going to learn together. All right. All right, so these are the 4 areas that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the benefits of having a routine. We're going to talk about the different types. So we're going to talk about considerations and troubleshooting, which I think I went over before. All right, so the benefits of routines. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? It provides structure and predictability, even for us as adults, because I don't know about you, but I use my calendar and my to-do list constantly. And those are really types of schedules, if you will, or types of things that keep us in a routine and keeps us knowing what's going to happen next. So we all use them, and kids really benefit from them too. Imagine if you did not have anything written down on your calendar and you woke up every single day and you had no idea what was to come, and someone just sprang on you, oh, okay, all of a sudden we have a meeting, you need to prepare, you're going to produce this work we're asking you to do. It would be a little anxiety provoking, to say the least, and you might not feel prepared and you might not do your best work. You might even exhibit some challenging behavior. So it's the same with our kids. Okay, we want to let them know what's going to happen as much as possible so that we reduce problem behaviors and we increase predictability. It's better for everybody. And we also know that when they're at school, their day is pretty structured. They have, their academic tasks scheduled, they have specials scheduled, lunch and recess, any pull-out time, any OT, PT, speech, all that is scheduled for them. And especially with the little ones, well, we'll talk about this in a bit, seeing that schedule visually really helps kids know what's coming. And last but not least, when we have a routine in place during this odd time that we're all in, it allows you as an adult to schedule the time that you're going to have to step away and do some work, okay? Okay, so let's talk about the types of schedules. Really, there's 2 main kinds. There's written schedules and picture schedules. Written schedule is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you're writing down with words what's going to happen. It's best for readers. Picture schedules, on the other hand, are best for non-readers, obviously. And for individuals with developmental disabilities such as autism, and those little kids, those preschoolers, those visuals are really best. Let's look at some examples. This is a written schedule. Obviously, there are no pictures. This is for 2 kids, Sarah and JD, one in intermediate school and one in middle school. And this is a schedule that the parents have put in place just this week, okay? So as you can see here, they start with breakfast and then end at 4:15 with journal time. And you have the different academic tasks, also specials. They're practicing their instruments. Not really sure what flex and finish means. Maybe that's a writing, or not a writing, a running phrase I'm not familiar with. I don't know. But I really like the tidy the room. I think I'm going to steal that. All right. And you might be wondering, like I did, why are there two different columns for each student, for each child? And my friend told me that it stands for the day. Maybe you already figured that out, but I didn't. So for example, this first column here under Sarah is for Thursday. And then this column here under Sarah is for Friday. What you can see and what's nice about this is that you don't have to write a new schedule every single day. You can write one schedule for the week, and if there's 2 days in the week, or like next week, 5 days in the week, you can just put boxes across. So I really like that idea. Like most schedules that I can think of, you're actually crossing out when the activity is over. You kind of have a sense of accomplishment, like, and you also see how much more is left to go. Here's another example. This is actually what I've been using with my kids the past few days. So every single morning, or I actually have been trying to do it the night before, I take a piece of construction paper. I just write on the front and the back. We start with what today's date is, and we start with morning meeting. And I started separating both kids while the learning is occurring. So I started out having both kids together during the instructional time, and that really wasn't working for me. So you'll see later, one of my recommendations is to just reflect on what worked, what didn't work at the end of the day, and then modify as needed. So I reflected on what was happening. I realized it just was not working, trying to work with the 7 and a 4-year-old at the same time. So now I've switched it so that you can see while I'm working with Andrew and he's learning, he's doing his work. Call it whatever you want. You can call it Andrew work, Andrew instruction, but I'm saying it's learning. While he's learning, Quinn is on her iPad. You might have, different beliefs in your household, but we are okay with using the iPad and going on apps and games and watching TV. We're okay with that as long as it's in moderation. So while Andrew's learning, Quinn's on the iPad, and then they switch. Now, I've done this intentionally where Andrew is doing his instruction first so that he is following his work time with something very reinforcing. Okay, now with Quinn, I know her learning time, Andrew doesn't know this, but her learning time is not what his is, okay? As a 7-year-old, as a first grader, he is doing work. He is doing reading, writing, and math, and social studies and science. Quinn, not so much. Her learning really looks like playing, but he doesn't, Andrew doesn't know that. When I'm doing learning with Quinn, we're really playing. So anyway, so that's why Andrew is learning first, and then he gets a fun thing, which is, on this example, FaceTime play date. Then we have second breakfast. My kids like to eat. Then we have some kind of specials. Music with Luke was a little virtual music class that we did, which they really liked. Some days we do yoga. Some days we do, a sensory table, something like that, but it's something different than the academic time. Okay, and then we're back to Andrew learning while Quinn does her iPad, and then they flip. Quinn is learning, Andrew's doing his iPad. So you can see here there are 2 learning sessions that Andrew is taking part in. That's where we get the work done. That's when we get the work done that his school has sent us, okay? And if you're wondering how long each of those sessions are, we have started out doing about 45 minutes here. I don't know if it actually needs to be that long. So for this 45 minutes that Andrew is engaging in learning, Quinn is on her iPad for 45 minutes. Then Quinn, I'm playing with her for 45 minutes, or learning, and Andrew is on his FaceTime playdate for 45 minutes. And then same with the bottom ones, okay? And then the second page of the schedule, we have lunch, outdoor recess, quiet time, more iPads for both of them, snack, free play, iPads, dinner, free play, showers, and bedtime. Okay, so all in all, at the end of the day, they're probably on their iPads for 2.5 to 3 hours, which is more than I typically like to let them do. But hey, these are very strange times, so we're just gonna roll with it. Typically, I like to keep it to 2 hours, but it's 45 minutes each time. and we do it about 3 or 4 times, okay? And really, sometimes we don't even need to show this second page because, you know, by the time 3, 4 o'clock rolls around, it's like a regular day around here, and they never needed a schedule at home starting at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So why start now? But what's funny is they've actually been asking me for it. So sometimes I won't even show them this afternoon schedule. You know, we definitely show this first page, second page, not so much. But they've been asking for, what's the schedule? What's the schedule? So they like crossing it out. They like seeing what they've done. They like seeing what's to come. Now, I did say before that with non-readers, like, you know, my preschooler Quinn, that I did say that visual, you know, picture schedules are best, but um, she doesn't really seem to need it. So do what you think works best for your kids. She doesn't seem to need the picture schedule, but a lot of preschoolers do, especially those with disabilities like autism, other developmental disabilities, ADHD, learning disabilities. So you might want to consider doing that visual schedule, which I'll show you in a minute. But my Quinn doesn't really matter to her as long as I'm telling her with my voice what's happening and she's experienced enough times. She's experienced it enough times now, she knows what I mean. All right, so here is an example of a picture schedule. So this is an example from school, but, or actually, no, I'm sorry, this is a morning routine. So this is something you could absolutely use for your little ones. Velcro is your friend. If you didn't know this already, if you have a kid with a disability, Velcro is very handy. So this is a laminated routine that you don't need to redo every single day. It's there for you. You don't have to make a new one like I did, writing down, you know, every single day something different. I'm gonna have to probably rethink that. I'm kind of wasting a lot of paper, but anyway. So here's the routine. They're waking up, they're feeding and watering, they're watering the dog, they're feeding and giving water to the dog, they're making their bed. And every time they accomplish that task, they fold over this little checkbox here, which I really like. And the colors are really cool too. Now, some of you may have heard of the website and program Boardmaker. Boardmaker, Board Maker, all one word, Boardmaker. And right now they're providing their materials that they're accessible for free during all this coronavirus stuff. So you can get these visuals on Boardmaker. You could also Google image a lot of things too. That's always very easy. Here's another example of a visual schedule. Okay, this one is coming from school. We have circle time, reading, centers, break, read a story, and then you would put either a check mark here or a little Velcro check mark right on there. Okay, so this is really probably a half day schedule right here. Now, some kids that have lower functioning or really just they benefit from knowing what's going to happen next. Some kids will need to know exactly what each activity will look like. What are the steps involved in each activity? And here's an example of that. Okay, so here's circle time. And within circle time, we have visual prompts. Okay, they're going to be asking, what's your name? How's the weather today? We're going to do calendar next. Then we're going to count. We're going to do ABCs, and then we're going to do a special activity. So we call that a mini visual schedule. So some of your kids might need something like this, that for every single activity you do with them, you're outlining what it's going to look like. And then when each of these activities is done, you might take it off the Velcro and put it away, okay? Or if you don't have the Velcro, you don't have the laminated Okay. I don't know what happened. I think I lost connectivity there. Hopefully you're all still there. All right, let's continue on with what we were just talking about. We talked about our quiz. We said all of the above. Picture schedules are good for preschoolers, individuals with developmental disabilities, and non-readers. All right, so let's move on to our next area here, considerations. We want to be thinking about how long each activity is. We're going to be thinking about what the order of the activities are throughout the day, and we're going to be thinking about how we're going to structure these activities, whether they're going to be timed or just based on how much work is produced. Okay, so activity length. I want you to really be thinking about what's typical for your student, for your child. So we know from the Center of the Office of Child Development that 3-year-olds can be expected to maintain their attention for 3 to 5 minutes. 4-year-olds, 5 to 10 minutes, 5-year-olds, 10 to 15 minutes, and 6-year-olds and beyond, 15 to 25 minutes. That includes us as adults. So what does this mean for you? This means that when you're setting up activities throughout the day, you've got to keep things fresh. Okay, you got to keep things engaging, or you're going to lose them, and then we're going to start seeing that challenging behavior. Okay, if your kids can go longer than what you're seeing here on the screen, great, go for it. But if they can't, just remember they're not at fault. Okay, this is developmentally appropriate, and we're going to try to be mindful of what is appropriate for their age and their developmental level. And we are going to try not to get so upset, and we're going to practice patience. Okay, can you tell I'm talking from experience here, right? If something doesn't go well, before you get angry and, why isn't this working? Why aren't they, why are they walking away from me? Why can't they sustain their attention? Think about what's really appropriate and what can we really expect from our kids. All right. Now, iPads, video games, this doesn't seem to apply. So, but we don't want to have our kids on screens all day long. I know it's tempting right now. I know it's tempting, but we got to keep our kids learning. We got to keep them engaged, and it's going to make it that much harder once we do get back to reality. Once we do get back to normalcy, if they're on screens all day long at home, it's going to be really difficult going back to school for you and for their teachers. Okay, so we got to keep them engaged. All right, something that I want you to be thinking about is showing your kids visually how much time is left in the activity. So this can be just from a clock, whether it's an analog clock or a digital clock, depending on your learner. If they're able to tell time, a clock could be sufficient. Okay, I know that my schedule says we're going to do this activity from 11 to 11:30. I can see the clock. I can see that it's 11:20. I have 10 minutes left. Okay, that will work for a lot of kids. Sometimes you can use a phone timer. That's what I'm using. So I have the timer on my phone showing my 7-year-old how much time is left in the activity. And he not constantly, but he does look. He wants to know how much time is left before he can get to that good thing, before he can get to that FaceTime play date, for example. Visual timers. There are lots of different visual timers out there other than the phone and the clock timer I just spoke to you about. And I saw this really cool website, which I hope you like as much as I do. They've got some really cool things here. So you can click on any of these different timers. We have oil timers, relaxing rings, fuel gauge timers. So we're going to look at this sand timer here, which I kind of like. And we get to pick how long the timer is going to be. I'm going to pick, we would never really probably do a 30-second activity, but for example's sake, I'm going to show this to you. So you can have this up on your phone, on your computer screen, and now your kid knows how much time is left in the activity before something fun comes. Pretty cool, right? I'll send that website to you after we're done. Okay, how do I go back? Let's see here. Where am I? Okay. Also, keep in mind that we want to, what is happening? Okay, I think the time is up, everybody. I also want you to be thinking about transition warnings. So we really want to let our kids know how much time they have left, especially when it's a preferred activity that they are in. So let's say my kid Andrew is on his iPad, he's playing Minecraft, and he's about to have to stop playing Minecraft and go into learning activity time, which doesn't happen often because I always try to do learning then iPad. But let's say he is. Let's say he's going from iPad to learning. You want to give that transition warning. There's no magic number, not that I'm aware of at least, but I like to do a 5 more minutes of iPad time, then we're going to do learning. And you got to check that they've heard you. So you want to kind of get some response in return. So I teach my kids, they have to say, okay, mommy. If they say, okay, mommy, I say, thanks for responding. Okay. Then when there's 1 more minute left, I tell them, okay, 1 more minute, then iPad is going to be all done. Then we're going to do learning. All right. For these kids with developmental disabilities, you want to keep your language your sentences, your statements short though. Okay. So you might just say 1 more minute, then iPad's all done. Like I guess what I have written here. Okay. So keep it short. You don't want to, okay, 1 more minute, iPad's all done, then we're going to do learning. Just keep it short. All right, now we're going to move on to the next area here, and that is thinking about what order you're going to put activities in. So be thinking about interspersing easy and difficult tasks. You might not know what's easy for your child and what's difficult for your child yet, but you will soon learn. So want to intersperse those so it's not just difficult, okay? Also be thinking about doing, some kids might do better with easy first and then difficult. Some kids might do better with difficult first, then easy. You really kind of got to play it by ear. I know my kid, we cannot start out doing writing right off the bat. We've been starting with math, and he's been doing well with that. And then writing is usually later, right before something really fun is going to happen. Because then he knows if he finishes writing, then I'm going to get to do something fun. I also provide choice to him. So I'm going to go back. So even though in his schedule it looks like this, Andrew learning, he does not need a mini schedule. I haven't had to say, okay, it's learning time. First we're going to do math, then we're going to do writing, then we're going to do reading. I haven't had to do that with him visually. What I have done instead during learning time is say, okay, we're in learning time. He sees that. Then I'll give him two choices. We have a whole list. I have a whole list of work that he has to do. I will give him two choices. I'll say, okay, do you want to start with math or phonics? He picks one. He finishes math. Okay, we're checking the timer. Okay, we have this much time left. All right, now do you want to do phonics or spelling? He picks. Okay, so I kind of work the system. I kind of give him a choice so that he's feeling like he has some control and you're less likely to see behavior problems then. All right. And sometimes I don't give him a choice. Sometimes there's only one left, there's one activity left, so that's the one we're gonna do. Or I kind of just feel him out that this activity is gonna be okay, even if he doesn't have a choice, I'm just gonna go with it, all right? All right, also on this second bullet point here, it says intersperse stationary activities with physical activities. So you don't want your kids to be sitting all day long. That's why you saw earlier that we had learning time, iPad time, and then music with Luke, or yoga. You also saw that we have outdoor recess interspersed throughout the day, well, right after lunch. So there's also really great resources like the yoga that I was talking about. Cosmic Kids Yoga has free subscription right now for at least a couple weeks, which I'll send. Go Noodle has really great interactive dances and things like that free right now. So you want to intersperse the stationary sitting still activities with physical activities, again, trying to decrease problem behavior. Okay, this next one, this is my favorite. This is so important. The Premack principle, AKA grandma's rule. If you don't know what this rule is, this is going to change your life. We use this all the time. So grandma's rule is, first eat your broccoli, then you get cookies. It's making sure that the consequence follows the behavior. The reinforcer in this case follows the behavior. So like you've kind of already heard me talking about it already, but we do learning time first, then we do iPad. Learning time first, then we do iPad. iPad happens to be easy for us right now, and it's very reinforcing for Andrew, so it works. Here are some other here are some other examples. When you're done with your math assignment, you can watch TV. As soon as you're finished cleaning your room, you can play outside. When you put your dishes in the sink, you can play 30 minutes of video games. First work time, then playtime. So again, for kids with developmental disabilities or language impairments, speech and language impairments, I've been forgetting to talk about those disabilities, you might want to keep your language very short. So first work time, then playtime. You can show that visually. First work time, then playtime. That visual can be a Google image, it can be from Boardmaker, it can be a picture of your kid on your phone, right? Here's a picture of you working, here's a picture of you playing. First work time, then playtime. All right, so let's do a quiz here. Which of the following schedules follows Grandma's rule? Is it Schedule A or Schedule B? Okay, so really the only difference here for Schedule A, we have iPad free time and then math, iPad free time and then reading and writing. Whereas in Schedule B, we have math and then iPad free time. We have reading and writing, then iPad free time. So can you figure out which one follows Grandma's rule? Yes, Schedule B, because the reinforcer, which for my kid is iPad, follows the completion of work. Okay, so whenever possible, use Grandma's rule. We use it constantly. Yesterday, I was about to, we were about to go outside. The kids wanted to go outside. I was about to hustle them outside, and I thought, oh shoot, we haven't gone potty in a while. I know I'm talking about little kids. Some of you are working with older kids. You're probably rolling your eyes, but this is my life right now. So I was about to go outside, and then when we came back inside, we were going to go to the bathroom, but I thought, no, going to the bathroom is a huge issue for my 4-year-old. So I'm going to have it so that she goes to the bathroom first, and then she gets to go outside, because I knew she wanted to go outside. So I said, oh, actually, before we go outside, let's go potty, wash our hands, and then go outside. We do that all the time. Oh, actually, before we play a game, let's brush our teeth. So let's first brush our teeth, then play a game. So we use it constantly. All right, we're moving on to the next area here, and then we're going to finish up. Be thinking about, do you want your activities to be time-based or product-based? So that means that do you want to set a timer and say, okay, we're going to be working for 10 minutes and then we're going to do something else? Or do you want to say you have to finish this assignment and then we're going to do something else? That's something you just want to be thinking about. And there's really no right or wrong answer, but let's go through some of the pros and cons. So with time-based, let's talk about that first. With time-based, the pros are that you're allowed as an adult to more easily plan your own work time. So if you know that you're going to be working with your kiddo from 10 to 11 and that you're going to have 11 to 11:45 free, then you know you can schedule in some work time, maybe a conference call, webinar, whatever. It's also probably easier to have time-based activities if you have more than one kid at home right now. So for me, I have 2 kids at home, so I need to figure out, you know, who's going to be on iPad for how long, who's going to be working for how long, and it's just easier for me to do it that way. It also allows me, this is the third bullet here, I figured out this nice little perk. It allows me to pause the timer if whining or other challenging behavior occurs. So I've been using the timer with Andrew, saying, okay, we have 45 minutes that we're going to be working right now. And I'll set the timer for 45 minutes. And he's checking in periodically when he's working to see how much time is done, how much time is left rather. And when something occurs like whining, and he knows that whining is the behavior we're targeting, I pause it and I just look away. And he has learned that we're not, you know, this is not taking time off your clock here. We're pausing. So as you're whining, you have that much more time to work, okay? And I see him kind of, okay, all right, mommy, can you please help me? Now that's because I've taught him the words, mommy, please help me. Or mommy, how do you spell this? Or mommy, I don't understand this. Okay, I've taught him those words, that functional communication training. So it wouldn't work probably if I had just paused it and looked away. He might escalate his behavior, but I've already taught him the behavior of saying, mommy, can you help me? So it looks like this. He's whining, he's whining, he's whining. I don't like this. I don't get it. I hate it. I pause it. I look away. Mommy, please, can you help me? Oh, yes. And I press play. He sees that the timer is ticking away. What is it, babe? I can help you. What do you need? That's what it looks like. Okay. All right. So some cons to using time-based is that the child may produce less work. So they might be kind of running out the clock. So if they know they get to watch a TV show in 45 minutes or in 10 minutes, kind of just kind of not really doing much, just kind of running out the clock. So something to think about. And that could be one of the behaviors that you pause though, if you're around. If you're around, you can say, oh, I see you daydreaming, I'm gonna pause it. And that might get them to get back to task, okay? All right, the other option is product completion. So you tell your kid, all right, once you finish X, Y, and Z, once you finish writing this paragraph, or once you finish doing this worksheet, then you get to whatever. The pros of that is that they might work faster because they want to get to the next fun activity. They want to get to the next reinforcer. So they might be like, okay, all I have to do is finish this work. I'm going to do what I have to do so I can get to that fun thing. The con is that they might then be producing sloppy or incomplete work to get to the next activity. So just be keeping that in mind. And of course, it might be difficult for you to plan your work activities around your child's schedule if you're using product completion, because you might have that phone conference at 11:45, but your kid is already done and it's only 11:05. Okay. All right, so let's think about some things that might come up. This is not a foolproof plan. There are going to be snafus. I do this for a living and I still come across issues with my kids. They are not perfect. I am not perfect. I lose my patience. I yell. Don't want to yell. Don't want to lose my patience, but it happens. So be easy on yourself. Nobody thought they'd be doing this. Oh, I have a knocker. Quiet time is over. I might have to stop and pause for a second. But we're all doing the best that we can, and we did not sign up for this. We did not expect this to happen. So please be easy on yourself and just give yourself a break. Okay. Hopefully we're all back. Okay. Kids are awake. Well, they don't really nap. They just have quiet time in their room, which means they play in their room. They're not allowed to leave. Quinn has to stay on her bed because she's only 4. And now they're awake, so you might hear them. All right, where were we? All right, troubleshooting. Be easy on yourself. No one knew we were going to be doing this, so take it easy. Okay. Also, be flexible so that if the schedule has to change, model calm behavior for them. You might even do some self-talk like, oh, darn it, I really wish that we were going to be able to go for a walk, but now it's raining, so let's play a game instead. Right? So it's really important, especially for these kids that have autism or other developmental disabilities. The schedules and the routines are really, really great for them. But if we do that to a point, it's really adding to the rigidity that some of these kids already have. So try to be flexible. Sometimes you might intentionally change the schedule on them. Oops, I changed the schedule, and try to, make it a funny thing. Like, oh my gosh, we're accidentally, gonna have breakfast for lunch instead of lunch. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Like, you want to intentionally build in things to your schedule where the unexpected happens to kind of build that flexibility. But anyway, I could talk about this all day. All right. And lastly, at the end of the day, reflect on what worked, what didn't work. things are going to change. Things are not always going to work one day like they did the next, so it's okay. Um, and here are some resources for you. You can email me questions, and I'm going to be also sharing your emails with my colleagues, Dale and Aaron. So you might get an email response from me. You might get an email response from Aaron or Dale. We do have some upcoming sessions. This is the plan at least. Session 2 is going to be setting clear and consistent behavioral expectations. And session 3 will be responding to challenging behavior with composure. And we're also going to be sending you out the link to the Google Drive, which will have pictures of the schedules that we shared and some other links as well. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful for you. This was fun for me, gave me something to look forward to and to feel like I was hopefully contributing to some of you out there. Hang in there. This is a very strange time. We can do this, and we're here for you at Regional Partnership Center. We're always free, always here for you. Anything having to do with education and instruction and helping students with disabilities improve their outcomes. Okay, so thank you and goodbye.